Vladimir Putin is second king of antisemitism after Hitler, says Zelensky.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is the second king of antisemitism after Hitler, said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in an interview with the BBC on Wednesday. According to the BBC, after being asked the question, Zelensky took a deep breath, put his head down and said he wasn't quite sure how to answer the question before stating, "It's like he doesn't fully understand his words. Apologies, but it's like he is the second king of antisemitism after Hitler." Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky speaks to the media at the Chancellery in Berlin, Germany, May 14, 2023. Ukraine counteroffensive going slower than desired. President Volodymyr Zelensky additionally stated during the interview that progress in Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russian forces was slower than desired, but that Kyiv would not be pressured into speeding it up. His adversary, Russian President Vladimir Putin, said Moscow had observed a lull in Ukraine's counteroffensive, which began early this month. Although Ukraine still had some offensive potential, Kyiv understood it had no chance, Putin said in televised remarks. Ukraine's Armed Forces General Staff said on Wednesday evening there had been 35 armed clashes in the main sectors of the front over the past 24 hours, without giving details.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 85%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Calling Putin a king gets him hard. Don't do it. Putin is a pig boy.
That pathetic dirty bitch baby mistress gets to stand on. Little pig boy.
County of origin?
Little pig boy comes from the dirt.
He's a weaselly little mud grub who needs to be stood on. Little pig boy.
Well, at least the kids had fun.
If we're including both dead and living people, then what about Alfred Rosenberg?
Surely Emperor Hadrian is second on the list after Hitler. The guy literally tried to annihilate Jewish culture in Judea. He's the primary reason there was a Jewish diaspora to begin with.
It's one thing to do this in a time before adequate understanding of human rights and religious tolerance, and another to envision and implement an industrial murder scheme of the entire Jewish people after the world had already gone through the Enlightenment and, not to mention, World War I. But our current understanding of human rights came after the horrors of World War II.
Nah, I'd say more WW1 in that regard. The Armenian genocide was widely condemned as a crime against humanity in the West, and half the reason appeasement happened in the lead up to WW2 was because the West wanted to avoid another war as brutal as WW1 was.
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly on 10 December 1948, was the result of the experience of the Second World War. With the end of that war, and the creation of the United Nations, the international community vowed to never again allow atrocities like those of that conflict to happen again. World leaders decided to complement the UN Charter with a roadmap to guarantee the rights of every individual everywhere. The document they considered, and which would later become the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, was taken up at the first CES.
We updated a lot of our understanding of human rights post-WW2, especially all the stuff involving the UN since that's when the UN was founded. But we were starting to develop that stuff after WW1 with the short-lived League of Nations. The Armenian genocide is often considered the first genocide because that's when we started defining genocide as something different to the usual killing of civilians that happens in war. WW1 was supposed to be the war to end all wars, because of how harsh and brutal it was.
He's not wrong. A lot of funding and/or training from white supremacist groups around the world are Russian. Edit. Also, Russia funds a lot of anti-Semitic politicians.
That's what I like to see. Receipts.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.